Hey guys, today was the first day of our Beta Bay book club. We went over the first three chapters of Grit by Angela Duckworth. It was quite frankly awesome. I loved it. We had about 35 boys on there. It was really, really cool to kind of see and hear their thoughts and their overview of a book like this. And I just wanted to share a couple of the highlights that I had. Kind of give you a little brief rundown of kind of the overview and notes that we were using, and we'll throw these questions that we had for the boys up on our website as well. So if you want to take a look, and if you're just picking this up a little bit later, you can catch on and see what we've gone through. But one of my favorite ones is we were overviewing kind of the beginning of the book, where Angela Duckworth talks about how her dad always, when she was a kid, would say, "Oh, she's no genius. She's no genius," as a child, whenever he would describe her. And she actually went on to be awarded the MacArthur Genius Grant in the middle of her career. And we talked about where kids started from their volleyball experience, from other clubs, their school programs. And I'm gonna use Neil Finnegan's example from our 17-1s team. Um, Told a story of when he first came to a Beta Bay open gym. He had just played a little bit of volleyball. He was a 6'5", 15-year-old stick that walked in the gym, and he immediately knew that he was in the deep end and he did not know how to swim. And he just tried his hardest to try and figure it out. And luckily he had some guys come up and be really helpful and nice to him. And he kept on coming back to these open gyms, and sure enough made a team and tryouts. And I remember that moment of Neil walking in, and could tell that he was struggling. But the thing that I remember the most was not that he was bad at volleyball, was that he had a smile on his face, was saying yes, coach, and just trying to figure out anything he could do to try and make it a little bit better. And he kept coming back and kept working really hard. And it was an awesome story that he told, that I had that feeling of as well, getting to see. So it was cool to hear that those moments come out a little bit, and some other guys had some great stories on that as well. And as we kind of worked for the first three chapters, a lot of it was the introduction of grit, and kind of the definition of a never give up mentality, and how important it is. There's that great quote of 80% of anything is just showing up, and then 20% is just your effort. And so the ability to actually show up, be there, put in the work, is so hugely important in a world where it's really easy to seek that instant gratification, and when it's not there, to say, oh, whatever, I'm done with it, on to the next thing, I'll figure something else out. So that was a good one. And then my other kind of favorite part was just talking about the difference between the naturals, and then what the book describes as strivers, people who work really hard to learn a skill or to work on something, as opposed to someone who's just naturally gifted. And it was funny talking about, asking the boys of, like, have you seen guys that you think are naturals? And a couple of them named a couple of different people, and most of the time it was usually guys that were older than them. Theron from our 16s team talked about a player that I actually got to coach at Stanford this year, and Will Rotman. He was a freshman playing for Bellarmine last year, went down to the Santa Barbara tournament, and he said, wow, Will Rotman at this tournament just looked like an absolute beast. You could tell he was just a natural. And getting to work with Will's been playing since he was a little kid. He's put in so much time and effort and hours, and he comes from a long volleyball family, and I'm sure they've played so often, that he's put in a lot of time to look natural. And that idea that when you're putting in all that effort that goes on behind the scenes, it's really easy for other people to just think, oh, you're just naturally gifted. It's a lot easier for the huddled masses to think, those people are just out of this world. I can't compare myself to them. I don't need to compare myself to them, because it's easier that way to just think, oh no, it's nothing that I can attain. When in reality, it's just that person's put in so much time and so much effort, and they've made a lot of sacrifice, to be there. So those are some pretty cool things, as well. And yeah, those are some of the favorite moments. There was a lot of good questions that we kind of overviewed and went through. It's nice to see, guys hopping out there and letting us know their thoughts. And giving us their opinion on, what type of leadership that they've been using and how they strive, and the things that they think they're natural in, and hopefully they can put into place for themselves, and not just volleyball, but a lot of different things. So those are great. I hope if you're checking this video out, you go on our website, on our blog, and check out the first 3 chapters, look at those questions, and then join us next Wednesday as well, as we go through chapters 4 through 6, and we'll keep plugging away at this book until we're done in the next 4 weeks here. Thanks.